Hello and welcome back to Jack-O-Ween. I'm of course your host, Jack Knives. Today let's look at the other horror hit of this year, Weapons. In Maybrook, Pennsylvania, at exactly 2:17 a.m., 17 children, all part of Justine Gandry's third grade class, flee their house with their arms outstretched in a T-motion into the night, disappearing with only one child remaining named Alex. The town, blaming Justine for the mysterious disappearance, have ostracized her, including a frustrated father named Archer, who is trying to solve what happened to the children, where they went, and where they are. But things become more unexplainable as time goes on with the rabid actions of others and a possible mysterious presence pulling the strings. I've made no qualms about the fact that I could not stand the movie Barbarian. I also did not like the movie Companion. Although Zach Cregger only technically produced it, his script did help write the story. He has a habit of creating twists with kind of just out of nowhere resolutions. It always ends up feeling unsatisfied. I feel like he tries too much to overplay his hand, so to speak. And the problem with doing that is that you either have to go full 100% crazy, or you have to do something that the audience doesn't expect, but in a practical sense. And I feel that this movie, Weapon, is such a fantastic horror movie. Really was going in this with low expectations based off of the previous works of Barbarian and Companion. But I can honestly say this was a home run. Movie with intricate stories and something bigger going on. It also helps that it has an amazing cast, with Julie Garner as the main lead teacher, Josh Brolin as always great, and Benedict Wong, even though his role is kind of small, it is very memorable. You also had Amy Madigan playing a truly disturbing, creepy character. What's interesting about this movie is it's not necessarily comparatively to Barbarian and all these others, which is, what is the twist? This was more, how does the twist work? Like, what exactly is going on? And once you realize what's going on, you kind of want to see it play out in a way that you're kind of playing catch up with the main characters, but not in a forceful way. I'm not by any means comparing the two, but it's almost similar to Hitchcock did with a lot of his dramas. Not his horrors, but his dramas, where it would build this level of suspense that we, the audience, knew was going on. And yet, the characters were trying to catch up with us. The other thing that I was really happy with was there wasn't a lot of comedy. Zach Cregger, of course, was, before making movies, most well known as being a part of the comedy troupe The Whitest Kids You Know. Because of that, kind of similar to Jordan Peele, he does occasionally dip his toe into comedy. But unlike Jordan Peele, who only uses it for the periods of time or segments in scenes that are required to kind of lighten the mood, Zach Cregger kind of overplays his hand with the comedy. Whereas in this movie, there's not a huge amount of comedy. I mean, there's, situations, but there's nothing like comedic, super comedic about it. I'm going to try not to spoil too much, but the main orchestrator of the plan allegedly is apparently going to get their own prequel movie, which I am excited to see because hopefully it's by the same crew. Kind of want to know a little more about the character's backstory, since we already kind of know what happens in the movie if you've seen it. I do really appreciate the creepiness of the movie. There's a thing I read about in the script. The way they describe in the first page how the little kids run out of their homes, which is with their arms outstretched in a T-like motion. The script explains it's comparative to the horrifying photograph of the running napalmed child from the Vietnam War. Now, when you know that context, it adds an extra level of horror to those scenes. So, if you remember that while you watch this movie, it adds an extra layer to the horror that's going on. There is one or two things they don't really dive into. The number 217 seems to play a big role, but it really doesn't. Unfortunately, I feel that because Zach Cregger thought it was cool, and for that moment, I'm like, it doesn't really play a factor. Overall, I truly enjoyed this movie. I thought it was not as good as Sinners, but I do feel if you took the creepy mystery of Longlegs and you combined it with the suspense thriller Prisoners, you'd get this movie. And because of that, it adds this extra level of weirdness to it. But it's a memorable movie in its own regard. And I truly think that it could be a movie that down the road people could put in the same caliber as Hereditary or other movies of that kind of caliber, where it's modern but something older, if that makes any sense. But it's definitely one I highly recommend checking out. Come back next time for some more horror goodies on Jack-O-Ween.